You're listening to Season 6 of the Three Angry Giant Fans of the Jet Fan podcast, sponsored by Carolina Beer Temple. Join us weekly as we complain about our team's dismal performances, the shenanigans in the NFL, and other assorted nonsense. We also give our pet peeves and answer listener questions. Check us out on YouTube. Go to our website, angryfootballfans.com, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get yours. We have a lot of fun doing this. We appreciate all the support. Go Jets.
Neighbors, 7 before that. Here's a run again by Dart. First and 10. He'll take it in. His first career touchdown. And the Giants on top.
So that was the call of Jaxson Dart's first professional touchdown, a rushing touchdown. Guys, excitement in the air with Jaxson Dart, and then as Giant fans know, we can't enjoy anything too long. So before 5 minutes passes after that, we have to watch Malik Neighbors go down for the season. So that sums up Giant fandom in a nutshell. We have hope, and hope is dashed immediately.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Cardone said it best on the text thread. We must pay. There must be a token paid for the win. We must pay.
Yeah, we can't just enjoy ourselves for one afternoon, be not miserable for once on a Sunday. We must lose our top offensive player, top receiver, and you knew it as soon as he went in for that ball and the way he came down. Season's over.
Yep.
Season's over.
So we are the Three Angry Giant fans and a Jets fan. Our Jet fan is not here tonight, so it's just your host Scott, Giant Mike, and Cardone tonight.
He couldn't take it. He couldn't take our unfettered joy, man. Not in the state of Jetsville. He had to bail.
Yeah, it's suspect.
There's no way.
Novak's not here tonight.
The poor guy had to watch the Jets get off to that 0-4 start, and then he played Pinehurst number 2 today. So he probably took a 9 on a couple holes. I'm thinking
took another ass kicking. Yeah.
Between the Jets and the Mets, ripping his heart out.
Oh God.
So before we give a shout out, I think Mike has some news.
Yeah. I was out with a group of people tonight for a little birthday party. We had a good time, and the word kind of got around the table that I was doing a podcast. So a lot of people wrote the name of the podcast down, looked it up on their phone. So we might have some first time listeners tomorrow. So I wanted to kind of go around the table I was at and give everyone a little shout out, give everyone welcome to some new people to the podcast. So I have my sister Stacy there, she's listened before, and she's a fan of ours, and she listens often, but she was there tonight. My friend Dolph and his wife April were there.
Dolph
my
Lundgren?
friend, not Dolph Lundgren, no, different Dolph.
There's another Dolph?
Very similar to Dolph Lundgren, though. Yeah, very.
What's Dolph short for?
Dolph, I don't know. I'm going to ask him that. I have no idea. Actually, I think his name might be like Scott,
like Raymond, or yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but
okay,
yeah,
I
know him
that
as Dolph, and he's a good dude. He and his wife April were there. My good friend Jeff and his wife Rebecca were there. Welcome if you guys are listening in. Of course, everyone's favorite dude Carl was there. Everyone loves a Carl, right? And then the reason we were there was for my friend McShane. It was his birthday, and his girlfriend Jill put this on for us. So Jill, thanks again for inviting me. If you're listening. McShane's an awesome guy, and happy birthday, McShane. And then, of course, my two really good friends, Kate and Kristen, were there as well. So that's a swoop around the table. Shout-outs to possible new listeners tonight. Thank you, everybody. And if you don't come up to me the next time I see you and talk about this, I'll know you didn't listen. No excuse. I did it right at the beginning, right?
One of the best characters, Ian McShane, Al Swearigan. Wasn't he Al Swearigan?
Yes.
Al Swearigan.
So is it Carl with a C or a K?
I believe it's a C. I wrote it down with a C, but that's another good question.
All right.
Another good question.
That's always a tricky one. Carl's could be K's, it could be C's. So it's yeah.
I think it's a C. I'm going to go with C.
So Mike gives a shout out to all those people, and thank you for new listeners. Let's give a shout out to I always like the wordplay here when we do these. So hello, Princeton, West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Population 5,800. It was named after the Battle of Princeton in New Jersey, where General Hugh Mercer was killed. So Princeton, West Virginia is in Mercer County. Yeah. Hugh Mercer was killed at Princeton, New Jersey, and so it's sort of morphed into Princeton, West Virginia. in the Civil War, Princeton was burned by many, but it was most of the people had their houses burned to the ground. But interestingly enough, the citizens themselves burned their own houses down to prevent the Union from getting supplies from them.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So Princeton, that's quite northern for people to be hiding and destroying things from the Union Army. That's pretty north.
Yeah.
Princeton, West Virginia. So yeah, good.
So, and it's also, you guys should know who this is, the home of Bob Denver. Do you know who Bob Denver is?
That Bob Denver's full of shit, man.
Bob Denver. Talk about wait a minute. I'm thinking of John Denver, not
Oh, John Denver's who I was
John
thinking
Denver's
of too.
Rocky Mountain High, right?
Bob Denver is Gilligan.
Gilligan!
Little buddy.
Oh, Gilligan.
Little buddy.
Damn it, yes.
God.
Little buddy, hey, little buddy.
I
Hey,
thought we were
little
talking
buddy.
about, because we're in West Virginia, I thought it was almost heaven. West Virginia. That John
Drew a
Denver's
blank
full
on
of
that one. Sorry, Scott. All I remember is Ginger and Marianne. I don't remember who else
Yeah.
is running around that island.
shit. Yeah. So I just want to clarify. This town is named after a battle that happened in New Jersey.
Yes.
Town in
Yeah.
West Virginia, named after a battle that happened in New Jersey. Okay.
It-
All right.
And the state is basically named after a state to its east that like they just threw a west in front of it. So
Yeah.
that town, they've got no identity of their own.
No, I think you're right. I think we've discovered that West Virginia just kind of steals. Oh, you're Virginia? Fine, we're West Virginia.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, hey, Scott, as long as we're doing shout-outs, I want to, before we get any deeper, I know we'll get into football eventually here, but I spent the weekend in Boise, Idaho.
Boise.
And
the blue field.
The Blue Field, yes. And I do not know if we have any listeners in the Boise, Idaho area, but I definitely want to give a shout-out for that metro area, man. Cool city. Boise's a cool city. The scenery was awesome. We had great weather. I was out there with a few other buddies and their sons. There was a pack of 7 of us traveling around in a big rental van. The rental car place screwed up. We were supposed to get an SUV. For some reason, they ran out of those. And just like Seinfeld said, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. So we were carting around in this 12-person construction vehicle, which looked suspect everywhere we went. But Boise, Idaho was a cool place. We were out there for the Appalachian State at Boise State football game, where App State, they just stink. They got just absolutely rolled and demolished in that stadium. But just wanted to mention Boise, Idaho, which was really cool city, cool place. Had never been to Idaho. And, man, people were friendly. People were nice. We had our App State gear on. The App State alum they threw 2 different parties. We got banged up, to say the least. They gave out 2 free beer tickets, which I figured, I paid $80,000 for my son's education over 4 years. I got 2 free beers out of it, so not bad. Thank you to the App State alum organization there. That was cool. And probably my favorite part of the weekend was as App State was getting rolled 47-14, and after barking at the defensive coordinator, and after every play, we didn't send more than 3 men at the Boise State quarterback. Obviously, the beers kicked in, my voice, the fervor kicked in, and we're getting ready to leave. And this old couple, we were sitting in the App State section, so it's all App State fans. This older couple who I didn't see, they didn't sniff at each other for the entire game. She turns around, looks at me, and goes, "You ruined the game for me." I'm like,
right.
Yeah, good. I said, the players and coaches of App State ruined it for me, so I ruined it? How did I ruin it? As she stormed out of the section. Didn't the pick 6 didn't ruin it? Or the second pick 6? Which play ruined it for you, honey? Have a nice night. Get out of here.
I don't think I've ever been told that I've ruined the game for anyone.
I was so happy that I made someone else's day as miserable as mine. That was great.
Yeah.
I was actually, I took it as a badge of honor.
Yeah. She had no idea who she was dealing with.
No, she didn't know what she was dealing with. You ruined the game for me.
By the way, I've always been curious about this. The blue field in person. Does it look like it looks on TV? Is it a little weird? Did you adjust to it?
Yeah. Probably not as like bright blue. Maybe on like TV, it seems like it's just maybe because the game started at 5:30 local time, so the sun was kind of setting already. So it didn't seem quite as bright blue as I thought it would, but pretty cool field nonetheless. I mean, the stadium's not huge. It's not. It's actually about the same size as maybe App State's home field, Kid Brewer up there in Boone. But just a shout out to like I said, the App State alum, and a lot of fans there. So we got our doors blown off, but it was fun weekend nonetheless, and
Awesome.
So it was cool experience.
Do you have any potatoes?
I had some French fries with some my with a couple burger and baskets out there. So I don't know. It tasted. They didn't exactly nothing to write home about, I guess. Sorry, Boise, about your potatoes. I don't know. They were just okay.
So Giants got their first win of the year against the Chargers. Jaxson Dart gave us a jolt of energy right off the first drive. Cam Scattaboo. By the way, is it Scattaboo or Scatabo? Everyone calls him Scattaboo.
Great question.
Didn't it used to be Cam Scatabo in college?
We got to figure this out if we're going to continue this podcast, because you're right. I just sort of like go, Scattaboo. I just sort of like, because I don't know if it's Bo or Boo.
What do we want it to be? That's the question.
I want it to be Bo, I think. I like
Scatabo.
Yeah, I like Scatabo.
Because
better.
Otherwise it sounds Scattaboo. Yeah, it almost sounds a little cheesy, But
let's go with Scatabo.
We'll go with Bo.
So anyway, I mean, the two of them, great first drive. We have all the momentum in the world. I think we get a stop on the next drive, and then on a free play, and this is the luck of the Giants. On a free play, we throw the ball up for grabs, and Neighbors tears his ACL. Just a terrible turn of events there. We'll talk about what this means going forward, but the rest of the game, we basically held on. Some coaching gaffes, some issues there, but the defense looked good. Burns was a monster. Carter, really good. Dex with almost an interception return, which we only turned into 3 points.
Start scoring on those.
Yeah, you got to score on those.
The offense ain't going to do it. Although I think they did on both of ours this week. But
and then the biggest negative I saw on that was several times during the game, Dane Bolton took terrible angles on plays.
Bad angles. Yep.
Cost us a bunch.
Yep. Yeah, I'll chime in first there, I guess, Scott. You covered a lot of things I wanted to cover. Dart by no stretch of the imagination was a savior, but I do think that if we lined up this week with Russell Wilson again, we would have gotten beat 20-something to single digits.
Yep.
I think Cam Scatabo, or not Cam Scatabo, although he played a very key role as well. I think Jaxson Dart just kept a couple of drives alive that the play call had no business keeping alive. I think the quarterback draw when we called it was an awful call. Everyone in the world knew it was coming, and Jaxson Dart just made that happen. The one I'm talking about, right, where he got stuffed and broke a tackle and rolled
Bounced
around the
off
edge.
a guy. Yeah.
Scatabo had an awesome block on that. I don't know if you guys
He did. He had
saw.
A great block. Yeah.
But so I think this sort of I saw it on a reel this week. The Giants have like this two-headed crayon-eating monster in their backfield now. It's Dart and Scatabo, and if nothing else, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be entertaining. Dart's going to get better than that. It's funny. You guys saw probably on the text thread, I'd been drinking a little bit, and I went through the whole emotional range. I went from we've got the white Justin Fields to this is a giant improvement in quarterback play. So I went all over the place during the game. Dart. I think Dart just gave us a chance to win, maybe where any other quarterback on a roster really wouldn't have in that game. And a couple moments where in the past we've seen, okay, the Giants need to make a play here on either defense or offense, and so far this year we haven't made it. Dart made it with his legs. And this week it resulted in a win. And we've been very critical of quarterbacks who get a lot of credit for being great quarterbacks when they can't throw the ball. They just do it with their legs. So I'm going to leave it there. There's no question Darts can play better than he played. Remember how good of a defense the Chargers are. Yeah. And there's a lot of people right now saying Dart did a great job. If you go break down the film, he was awesome. I'm not a film breakdown guy. All I know is he had 50 or 60 some yards at halftime. He ended up with like 9 completions for 100 yards. Those are not numbers that jump off the page at you or make you think franchise quarterback. But the one thing he did was win.
But before Cardone gets into this, because I know he'll have a lot to say too, but just the thing that impressed me about Dart is, his passing numbers weren't great, but there were 3 throws he made to, one was to Robinson, and I think the other 2 were to Slayton, that you would not have seen Russell Wilson make or Daniel Jones make.
Yeah.
And they were third down conversions that kept drives alive.
Yeah.
Not to mention his legs, and I'll get into that after Chris says his piece, because there's another part of this game I want to talk about, as well as it would apply to the Jets game if Novak was here too. But
yeah, absolutely.
For a first NFL start, guys, you can't ask for more. He again
without
stats
Neighbors.
without Neighbors for pretty much the entire game, right? I mean, he did end up with Neighbors 2 catches, 20 yards, 3 targets. Okay. But he went down early in the game. So what we're looking for from Dart is, I think, what we saw bits and pieces of it in the preseason. But then we know preseason's a lot different than the regular season, and the Chargers are a good defensive team. So I was looking to see, what does he look like, the guy that can be an NFL quarterback? I mean, first start, you're not looking for huge numbers. Look at his numbers aren't going to, the passing numbers certainly aren't going to pop off the page at all, but he did enough of the things that he was asked to do as far as the game plan and things. There were a couple extra ripples, I thought. Even officially the touchdown pass, right, which was one of those forward shovel passes to Theo Johnson. I don't remember running that play. I think we ran it in the preseason. So even that, I was like, oh my gosh, we're turning to page 2 in the playbook as soon as Dart comes into the game. So I was just looking for the guy. What's his poise level? Is he going to look nervous? Is he going to look rattled? Is he going to look shaken? Any of those kinds of things that you don't want. Is he going to make a bad throw that he shouldn't make? And guys, I think the guy performed very well, and he was under pressure. The offensive line still got so much to clean up. He was sacked 5 times for 25 yards. So I'm trying to remember how many of those did he run into a couple of those sacks? I mean, I don't remember him holding onto the ball too long or doing those kinds of things that caused a sack here and there. But what I kept saying in this game, Scatterbo, we already talked 25 carries. Now, he didn't have a lot of yards per carry, but he carried the ball 25 times, 2 receptions, so 27 touches for Scatterbo, and Abdul Carter is just a man. The guy, he's a man on the defensive side of the ball. So I was just thrilled that 3 of our top draft picks this year are impactful guys. Well, Dart obviously a quarterback, but Carter is living up to his number 3 draft pick overall, and Scatterbo is now looking like a steal in the draft. Grabbing him. I was asked by my friend. He's like, "What round you guys get him?" I'm like, 4th. He goes, "Dude, that's an amazing grab right there at 4th." So let's get into it, guys. But I think it's a win is great. We had to pay for it, of course, with the Neighbors injury. So I know we'll talk about that as we move forward. But a win's a win. We beat a good team, and my God, it just feels good to not be miserable for one Sunday afternoon.
Just for a little bit. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to make it sound like I'm down on Dart's performance at all. I just, I am, because you guys know, I wanted Jaxson Dart on this team from the beginning of his senior year or junior, whatever he came out of college. I have wanted this for a long time, and I'm being very, very cautiously optimistic here. I agree with everything Cardone
We have
said.
to be. We're Giants fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought this, like Cardone said, for a first start, the one thing you definitely can say, and you can't say this about every rookie who's played this year, is the moment was not too big for him.
Correct.
He was poised. He was ready to go. He converted third downs with his legs and with his arm, which I kind of left out of my commentary. All of a sudden, magically, with a different quarterback in there, now all of a sudden Slayton's a viable NFL receiver, right? All of a sudden, we got guys looking for him. He's getting open on third down and convert. I mean, there was a difference in this game from the rest of the games that I kind of mentioned at the beginning. I still think the play calling sucked. I still think this team gets way too flippin' cute when they get down inside the 15 with Dart or with anybody. That part of it's got to change. You got to give a rookie a chance down there. But, just the ultimate bailout is just call the draw.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
going to get some yards on that thing, apparently. But the one thing that's interesting that I saw in this game that I don't know if I saw before, and again, I'm not a tape watcher. I barely watch any game outside the Giants. So this might be a regular thing that happens in the NFL now. But the Chargers had 2 spies on Dart on third down for a lot of plays.
They did.
I have not seen that before. And, if you got 2 spies on the quarterback, that is clearly the defensive coordinator saying, I'm just not going to let him run. He's a rookie. I don't think he can complete a pass in this situation. Something is wide open if you've got 2 spies on the quarterback, and hopefully they're in the film room right now at Dable going, look, if another team does this, we're going to hit this, this, and this, because they are giving that to you for free.
Well, and finally, we did a couple of things that happen against us all the time. We had a couple 3rd and longs converted with Dart running the ball, that you just never see. We had a couple dump offs that end up going for, 13 yards on a 3rd and 11 that you just never see. The one thing I'll temper my enthusiasm with is, guys, this is not sustainable. You cannot have Dart running around the way he is and Scatabo just bashing headfirst into everything without either of them getting injured. And we saw, again, I'm going to go off a little bit here on the officiating in a minute, but we saw Dart get taken out of the game after a play that you would never have seen Jalen Hurts, Allen or Lamar Jackson or Mahomes get taken off of the field for. He was clearly hanging his head because there was a holding penalty, which, by the way, was a bullshit call.
Yep.
And it wiped out a play down to the 2 on a drive I don't think we scored on after that. But they took him off the field for a play, and Russell Wilson comes in and promptly gets sacked, and we have to punt.
Yeah.
I know if Novak was here, he would be going nuts about the Jets and the officiating.
Oh.
If I'm a Chargers fan, I'm pissed about the officiating. What I'm pissed about in this game is there are way too many flags thrown, way too many calls of like illegal contact, defensive holding, all these bullshit calls that end up being, drive extenders that actually weren't calls. I mean, so you're just artificially extending drives both ways. Yeah. And there's something that's going to happen here. I'll get into that later, so I'll table that. The one thing I did want to get into, though, was Dable's performance. Guys, this was a win, and I was on board with this then. I'm still on board with this now. I would have fired Dable because I feel like he calls timeouts to help the other team. Yeah. That's what it seemed like when he called the timeout after we forced a 4th and 2 right before the half. Basically gave San Diego the license to, or San Diego, the Clippers the license to go for the end zone. Yep. But he also wasted another timeout later on, which I heard it was because the Giants had 10 men on the field. So that one's less excusable. But still, it's another timeout used. The other thing that gets me with Dable, he still coaches this team as if we are like the vintage offense of the Chiefs or the Cowboys or the Packers or someone like that.
Yep.
Take the points when you have the points, especially when it's like 3rd and goal from the 1 and you lose 3 yards and now it's 4th and goal from the 4. Kick the ball.
Yeah.
If you did that, we wouldn't have had to hold on for dear life at the end.
No,
and he refuses to take points on a team that needs points.
Now, this team, the way they perform in short yardage, the way they perform inside the 20, you got to take every point offered to you. You've got to. And that goes around the league. It's an epidemic, and it's frustrating. It makes me want to get into being a football coach because I feel like if you could get a coach out there right now who would coach old school, and we've talked about this before, right? Scott was saying, if you're at the poker table and everyone's playing loose, if you tighten up, you'll win. And if you get a coach in here who will punt and kick field goals, that's a playoff team right now against the rest of this league.
I don't want to make an analogy to baseball too much here, but we saw yesterday. Now the Yankees just tied the series 1-1 tonight. But
The Yankees lost game one because Aaron Boone pulled his pitcher at a certain pitch number rather than letting him fight through until he got into trouble and then pulling him. We saw him run the analytics and have a bullpen come in and lose a lead. Again, we talk about this all the time. Analytics is great in the long term. When you're in a 3-game playoff series in the baseball, or you're in a 17-game season in football, analytics will kill you if you lose 2 games because of decisions you've made that you think are right, but they don't work out.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I've always defended analytics in baseball because over the course of a season, it makes sense. Like if you redo the same thing in the same situation every time all year, and the analytics are in your favor, statistically says you will come out ahead by doing that. But when you're in a 3-game playoff series, statistics don't matter at all.
They really don't.
You just have to win the game in front of you, not take a gamble that might pay off 60% of the time. You have to win the game you're playing right now, or you're in deep shit. And that's the same thing with the 17-game NFL season, not to mention the NFL playoffs. I mean, we saw this play out with Dan Campbell as a fucking Super Bowl winning team and just blows it for no reason when kicking field goals and punting would have had him in the Super Bowl almost beyond a doubt. It's infuriating to me.
There's no way I can talk about Aaron Boone right now and his analytical managerial style. I can't do that right now. But yeah, I knew we were going to get around to that fourth quarter decision of I was screaming at Dable, please kick this field goal, especially after it depends sometimes on the
defense was playing well,
Well, that's what I was thinking, Scott. I was thinking I'm like, get a feel for the game, man. Like your defense is playing really, really well. Okay. Put this team down by 6. I know that's not the most comfortable lead because the touchdown still beats you, but you know what? You got to get a feel, man. And just Mike, you just said it, especially with the way we can't score in the red zone. Again, I don't know where we rank right now in terms of red zone percentage, but we are still grotesque as far as the league average is concerned in our ability to score from first and goal and anywhere. Goal to go, we can't figure that out. And that decision right there, thank God it didn't cost us, but man, to put your defense back in that position and to put the team that's where I do not understand these guys. And what bothers me even with that is I don't remember exactly if Harlan or whomever, the announcers, they never question it. They never say anything. They never make, it's okay to give your opinion there. It's okay to be like, oh, wow, man. You would think Brian Daboll wants to, this team is not used to having a lead at any point in the game, let alone the fucking fourth quarter with, minutes to spare. You would think he'd rather go up by 6 and if they don't score here, then the momentum goes back to the road team and all that. Guys, it's not going anywhere. These analytics, these coaches and managers not being able to coach the game with an instinct, a gut, a feel, anything. It's just incredible. And
that's how you got the name Riverboat Ron. I mean, they loved the fact that he went for it. It didn't matter if it paid off or it didn't. They just loved the fact that he went for it. He's a riverboat gambler, that guy.
No, it's funny. And even Greg Olson's broadcast partner, I don't know what game he was doing this week, but even his broadcaster finally called him out on it.
Yeah,
because there is no situation where Greg Olson says it's a bad idea to go for it on 4th down. There's none. And I thought I was nuts. And to hear his broadcast partner be like, well, it's Greg, go for it, Olson, he called him or something.
Didn't they do the Irish game?
Was that the morning game?
I think it was the morning game.
Probably was, because I did watch that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which, by the way, that was on at 7:30 in the morning where I was this weekend. God. So, yeah.
Cardone here is 100% spot on with this stuff. You've got to be an offense that can score on 1st and goal, on 2nd down or 3rd down before you become a team that tries it on 4th down. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be a team that has a good inside the 20, inside the 15 offense, and we don't. So going for it on 4th down makes no sense. He should put that shit on the table and come back 3 years from now and say, okay, are we the Chiefs yet? Because that's when it makes sense to run that kind of offense.
Well, there are times during the game I think you can, but you can't go by the book where you just always go for it inside. Like teams are doing that now, inside the 5 yard line. No matter what the down and distance is,
Yeah.
once it gets to fourth down, they go for it thinking, well, we got this other team pinned back. That's great otherwise, but if you have a 1 or 2 point lead, all that team has to do is get the midfield now with the kickers the way they
Yeah,
are.
there
You
is
know what I mean?
such a huge difference that I don't think is appreciated enough between having a field goal lead, a 3-point lead, and a 4-point lead. That is a huge difference in the NFL right now. These kickers can hit from anywhere on the field, and it's so easy to get into their range. If you can take a 4-point lead, take it. You have to do that. And, bullshit with this, we got him pinned back. When does that matter these days? There's always a wide receiver wide open crossing in the middle who will get you to the 30 on the first fucking play. Or a quarterback draw that,
or a 3rd and 6 with the illegal contact, automatic first down. That's coming.
Will let you off the goal line every time. Stop with that being a benefit of going for it on 4th down. It doesn't work that way anymore. There are no field position games the way they used to be in the 80s. There are no games where it's like we're okay getting to the 50 3 drives in a row and punting because we're winning the field position battle. That's not a thing anymore.
And I can't stand when the announcers, again, I'm bagging on announcers like I do the media, when they come in and say, if you're a Giants fan, you got to love Brian Daboll's aggressiveness right here to go. You know what I love? I love fucking 6-point leads rather than 3-point leads. I like scoring points.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else. That's what I like.
No. Here's what I always think, too. If you take a 6-point lead with 6 minutes left, if the other team goes down and scores a touchdown, you have time to kick that field goal.
You got all kinds of time.
And the other thing is if you do hold them, now you may go up by 9, and then that's an insurmountable lead, which the Giants would have done had they played it out that way. That's what bothers me. So what? So I laugh at some of the ways that you're right. The announcers tell us we should watch the game, and it's like no one thinks about the minutia anymore.
Yeah, and you can't even call Riverboat Ron anymore because
it's just
everyone's that now. Just the whole league is Riverboat Rons.
Yeah.
And it's so. I mean, I know Bill Parcells back in the day had a reputation for the fake punts and the going for it on 4th and shorts, but that was rare, and that's why it was a big deal. Now everyone's got a get out of jail free card to do that whenever they want, so it doesn't make it cool or special anymore. Dan Campbell's just another coach now.
It's like I would if we're gonna do if we're gonna do, sync up the initials. It's going to be like, Bonehead Brian Daboll for going for the 2 there, whatever. Douchebag Dan Campbell,
So maybe that's where it starts. You're all over it, Cardone. Maybe rather than getting the coaches changed, maybe we need a couple honest announcers right now being like, why the hell aren't they kicking this field goal? Because no announcer is saying that right now.
No, instead you got Greg Olson going, I love when they go for it here. And then when they don't make it, he goes, well, that's all right. They got him pinned inside the 5.
Pinned inside until second down when they break a receiver down the sideline. He's up to the 40.
It's almost as if these coaches they don't realize. Well, wait a minute. It's like fucking flipping a coin and calling heads every goddamn time. Like, wait a minute. There's a fucking tail side to this thing. When did that happen?
Yeah.
How could this be?
No.
It never lands. Wait. It's almost as if they don't realize. Oh, wait a minute. We might not actually get this. We might not actually get the first down or the touchdown here. Then what?
Now, there have been a couple times in Giants games and other games where I've seen the other team get the ball at a 40 and get like a 4th and 6. And the options are, do they try a long field goal or they go for this? I'm like, fucking punt it. You can still punt the ball.
Right.
Like there's not just 2 options.
Right.
I know Cardone hates him, but Gillen had a couple great punts
He
in this
did.
game. And
well, again with Gillen, this is what happens when you get a couple first downs and you allow your punter to kick from the 45 instead of the fucking 11.
Yes.
This is what happens when you suddenly can have a quarterback who can make a play, and not that he's lighting the world on fire. He's just keeping the drives alive for maybe one more series. one more series, 11, 12 more yards. It changes everything.
It's so funny you mentioned that, Scott, because I was thinking to myself, my God, there's a game where I do not hate Gillen for a game.
He had one.
I was actually proud of the guy. Like, yeah, he was hitting some long punts. He was doing inside the 20, inside the 10. Yeah, the one. I'm like, look at Jamie Gillen. He's actually, I was.
He had one where he had the receiver hightailing it backwards. I was like, what is this? When, are we playing in Denver?
Couldn't believe
What's going on?
So I know Novak's not here, but that Jets-Dolphins game, Justin Fields, here we go. He had a massive touchdown run, but the guy couldn't pass the ball worth a damn. We saw the Tyreek Hill leg go about perpendicular to his body, which I was bowling on Monday night, and the whole bowling alley let out a collective, whoa, like a gasp. And everyone looked up to see what was going on, and you saw this leg just sort of hanging there. But I wish Novak was here, because I don't think, we complain about the refs a lot. That Jets officiating that they were subject to in that game was brutal. They called a push off on I can't think of the receiver's name. On Wilson for a touchdown. That was about as minor of an offensive pass interference you're going to see called. There were several calls in that game that changed the way that was played. I was complaining about the Giants game with the hold on Schmitz on Dart's run, because you're letting blatant holds go and yet calling things that don't look like they're holds. The Jets got screwed in that game. I don't know if they would have won otherwise, but the officiating was god awful, and it's been awful NFL wide. We'll talk about that in a little bit too.
13.
Do you want to get
penalties
into that now?
Jets. Yeah.
Now we can if you want.
Yeah, I mean, if we're kind of done wrapping things up, I mean, I think that's a natural next place to go. Cardone, go ahead. I mean, you kind of started there.
No, again, I was just looking at. I like to go around and just look at box scores. I just like to see what's going on around the league and these other games. And even so, I'm looking at the Jets, 13 penalties, 101 yards. In the Giant Charger game, the Chargers had 14 penalties for 107 yards. I don't remember, guys, back in the day. Two things. One, double-digit penalties, and certainly not over 100 yards in penalties in an NFL game. And that seems to be happening. It's happening multiple times every week. Now, so what in the world is going on? How are these games being officiated? How are these officials being told to officiate the games? There's just seems to, or is it the fundamentals of the players themselves deteriorated so much? Because I want to see a defensive back simply go back into coverage and backpedal without grabbing the fucking guy every single play. And I want to see offensive linemen get in positions to appropriately block a pass rusher. And you just don't see it anymore. It's almost like you just don't see the fundamentals of blocking, pass coverage, especially in the secondary, guys. I don't know. Do you guys pay that close attention like that? Because when you see these guys are clutching and grabbing and holding jerseys of receivers, make slants and in cuts. Why?
Well, I think that's what bugs me about the illegal contact calls is they call it illegal contact where basically the receiver initiates a contact to the defensive back a lot of times. Yeah. And then they don't call when a guy's going across the middle and his jersey's being pulled so that everyone can see it. Things like that, it's so inconsistent. And Cardone, to your point about double-digit penalty calls, this time of the year right now versus last year, which was a high number of penalty calls last year, we're already up 25% versus that through week 3. I haven't seen week 4 come out, but seeing some of the totals I've seen from penalties around the league in week 4 tells me that number is going to go up. Yeah. And we're on this trajectory where the officials are calling all sorts of bullshit and allowing drives to continue. And I don't say I had an epiphany, but I thought about this on Monday night, and I said, guys, the one way you can reverse this, and the only way I think you can reverse this, is to start having the officials call the blatant shit, and that's it. Let everything else go. Cardone, I'm fine with letting some of the minor pulls go in the middle of the field as long as it doesn't affect the play.
Yeah.
I don't like it when two guys are hand fighting down the sidelines, and inevitably if a flag comes out, it's on the defense, not on the offense.
Yeah.
Make penalties be obvious. Make the drag down of the guy who's in on a clear path to the quarterback a penalty. Otherwise, let these guys play. Let these guys have talent. If a defensive back gets in there and he breaks up a play by coming in with his arm, but his other arm might slightly touch the guy's back, let that be. It's got to be blatant. You have to basically crush a guy to go through him. Let these guys play football.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the other thing that really has to go, and I know they put it in there because, they wanted to stop the Patriots because no one could play offense against the Patriots. That's what illegal contact came from, was to free up receivers. Illegal contact is the biggest bullshit call in the history of the NFL. It is a license to extend a drive, and that's all it is. What the rules are around illegal contact should not be illegal. It's not
basically,
holding.
You can't touch a guy after 5 yards.
Yeah, it's not holding.
Period.
It's not anything.
Think about the ambiguity in that.
Yeah, think about the ambiguity of it, and think about how hard that makes it to play defense. If you can't just stand in a guy's way and make him work through you when you aren't doing anything, and you can get called for that to extend a 3rd and 17, I mean, that's got to go. That has got to go. It's funny. Again, we talk about this every week and how rule changes and, we got to make the game shorter. Everything is done to appease the fans who are not really fans and who are going to be gone soon. Guys like us, guys like Novak, everyone I know who watches football, we love a great defensive performance every bit as much as a great offensive performance. We don't need 51-40. 13-7 can be an awesome football game. They've lost sight of that.
I think though, Mike, it's so hard to get to those. I like where you're going with that, but you do see a couple of those games still. Obviously, we had one. I'm going to get one of my pet peeves is the Sunday night's game, but I think you know how I feel about I think the NFL. Yes, they're whores for point scoring, and they want to have these high scoring games because that's the thing. That's what they feel that are going to keep people in the seats and keep people watching and fantasy and gambling and all that shit. Yeah. That's outside of the actual real, core of football. And it's to get to those games where you score 35, 40 or 45 points, you almost can't get there anymore because of running clock. And so you don't have enough plays. You don't have enough drives. And I know I keep bringing this up every week, but that's the other thing I look at again. Like even our game, the Chargers ran 56 plays. Do you guys realize how little that is in an NFL game? So I think what the NFL is doing is well, shit. How can we gotta get? They're worried about the games being 14-10, and if it was the old school way, you would have that because they have to extend offensive drives. Otherwise, there would just be punts back and forth, and the field position would be teams would be backed up. You simply don't have enough time, football time. The game still lasts 3 hours of blocks with advertisements and other bullshit way of slowing the game down. I say, guys, I say the same. We say the same thing every week, and it's again, love to hate the stuff we love with the way the game is officiated and just the way the game, just the way it's managed, if you will, by the officials.
Yeah, I mean, if you want proof, Cardone, of what you're saying right now, you can go on YouTube the day after any game is played, and you can sit down and watch every snap of a game in a video that's about 27 minutes long.
Yep. Yeah.
Because as soon as someone's tackled, they go to the next snap. As soon as someone's tackled, they go to the next snap. That's the football time that they stretch. They have to stretch that over 3 hours.
But without football.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that and still? How do you have 27 minutes of actual time when plays happen and allow teams to score 40 points? Well, you know how you do it. You give teams a bunch of free yards.
Exactly.
And, again, I know we had some criticism for being conspiracy theorists, but again, it's all very convenient, right? It's all very convenient. If the officials aren't going to call 13 penalties on a team during a game, then the other team's going to find it extremely difficult to score over 20 points.
Yeah.
Like Cardone said, there's not enough plays. There's not enough time.
There's not enough plays.
You've got to get free yards somehow.
I just think something's going to happen that's going to cause a change, and we need to see a change happen in the next couple of years, or else we're going down a slippery road where every score will be artificially manufactured as it seems to be now. I mean, you guys, we say it multiple times a week. Defenses can't get off the field, and it's not their own doing. It's because all of a sudden a flag comes out on 3rd and 18 for someone bumping a receiver 6 yards down the field. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And there's some momentum in our corner right now. I don't know if you guys heard from Troy Aikman this week, but Troy Aikman went off on the NFL. There was a couple bad calls in the game that he was watching, and he said on air, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that this is okay. Yeah. And they had their NFL ex-referee come on TV and tell Troy why it's a penalty, and he says, I understand it's a penalty, it's not a bad call, but it's unnecessary to call it right now. That is what we're getting at.
Says it all.
I have said that for years. I said if there's something away from the ball that's immaterial to the play, don't call it. And guys, we see certain crews too. Hockey Lee's crew, Hockey Lee, who did our game, and he's more well known for having big arms and being his dad's son than anything else. Son, and the one who did the Sunday night game, so this is going to be one of Cardone's pet peeves, the one who did the Sunday night game, those crews consistently have the highest number of flags, and they just throw a bunch of flags out. And a game should not, first of all, from a fan experience, the NFL should hate this, because if you're a fringe fan, you don't want to see stoppages every other play.
Yep.
But that's what's happening right now.
These games have been unwatchable with the amount of penalties. I can't even remember the last punt or kickoff I've seen without a penalty on it. You just assume the penalty now.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's built in. You just wait for the little yellow box to come up.
Yep.
So going around the league this week, there's a lot of stuff actually to talk about, namely one of Cardone's favorite pet peeves in the Colts-Rams game. We had yet another player on the Colts celebrating before, well, I don't know if he was celebrating as much as transferring a ball, but still moving a ball into another hand so that it falls out before he gets into the end zone, and then it goes out the back of the end zone for a touchback. And then you had people saying, you had the announcers saying during that game, well, that's a pretty harsh penalty for that. No, it's stupidity. I don't understand why it's a harsh penalty. The guy fumbled it out in the back of the end zone. Do you want to give him the ball back at the 1 because of that?
Every year it happens, and some chop gets on TV and talks about how that should be their ball at the 1, and it's an unfair penalty and it's too harsh. Everyone knows the fucking rules of the game. Don't do it. It's the easiest thing in football. Usually when you're running free, there's just nothing you have to do except not fumble the ball. I'll let Cardone go. I know he's going to be way better on this than I am, but it's fucking mind-boggling.
No, it's like
they think there have to be a rule change because these knuckleheads must fucking fumble the ball.
I mean, these are going to be stupid analogies. You guys know how I like to do analogies, but it'd be like a guy in a home run trot, and he just fucking bails out. Like before he touches home, he just fucking bails out and goes to the dugout. And it's like, wait a minute, the official rule, he never touched home plate, so the run doesn't count. It'd be like an empty net, like in hockey, a guy comes down empty net, and he just I don't know, just decides to fire it past it, or it doesn't put it on net. Doesn't stuff it into goal. Like, I'm trying to think of other ridiculous analogies, and there's not any that are good enough to come up. It's just unbelievable stupidity, and and it won't stop happening. And then on top of that, again, this must be a bash announcer week here on the Three Angry Giant Fans and a Jet fan, because now I'm going to bash. You're right, Mike. The announcers, instead of saying what an absolute buffoon this guy is for doing this, they try to then bail him out with saying that they should get the ball back at the 1. Why are you bailing the guy out? You should be right. You should be verbally assaulting the guy.
Yes, like in the old days.
But again, and Aaron Judge inexplicably just heads to the dugout, didn't touch home plate. The next batter came up. They went back to the tape. They reviewed it and be like, Judge never touched home plate. That run doesn't count. He's out. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What's the
the pitcher pointing to home plate?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I heard a lot of people say, Scott, oh, this wasn't like the last ones. He was just trying to transfer the ball, right? I heard that twice this week. He was trying to transfer the ball to his hand so he could spike it. There was no one around him. There's no reason to transfer the ball. All he had to do was hold it, cross the goal line, and then transfer the ball and spike it. There's no reason. He was trying to transfer the ball so he could celebrate with it.
Yeah,
You
relentless.
can't just make it stop. I don't know.
And as we were talking,
luckily the Giants have never done this, right? Can we
no,
think of a time?
I don't think a Giant has done that. As dumb as the Giants have been in recent history,
it boggles
I don't think
the mind that Odell Beckham didn't do that. It
boggles my mind that Kadarius Toney would have had he had the chance to actually score.
He would have. Shockey would have. I don't know how Shockey didn't do it.
So, the funniest part about this game too, though, is it goes back to the officiating discussion I was having before. Jonathan Taylor had one of the best runs you're going to see a running back have this season. 60 yards or so for a touchdown, and they called a wide receiver for a hold on the edge that didn't even really grab the guy, do anything to him. So as we talk about officials not impacting games, they took a touchdown off the board for the Colts that would have given them the lead with half a quarter left or whatever.
Yeah. Easily one of those little football IQ tests is when you're talking to a new group of people that you haven't talked about football with a lot, and you say something about officiating, and they say, oh, you can't complain about the officials. It's the same for every team. It doesn't decide games. Fuck off, dude. Fuck off. Come put a Giants hat on and come to my house for a weekend.
So, last week, I don't know if you guys saw, because the Giants won at 1:00, I was flipping around at 4:00, and the Raiders-Bears game was on, and this was an amusing game. Gino did his best to give the game away. Eventually, the Raiders did give the game away. Ashton Genty, looked pretty good in this game finally. But at the end of the game, the Raiders get in position to win the game with a field goal. And that field goal is blocked. And what do you think the first thing is the announcer said?
Can't wait to hear.
Look at Ben Johnson dialing up the field goal block.
Oh, no, he
They
didn't.
cannot wait to give this guy a genius label.
Dialing up the field goal block, Cardone.
Ben Johnson dialed it up. It wasn't a play by the Bear that did it. It wasn't the special teams guy. Ben Johnson apparently now takes the reins from the special teams guy.
What's great about that, Scott? What's great about that call is then why wouldn't you just dial it up for every single kick attempt by the opposition? Like, It's not like they're only like chances are there's going to be a fucking ball kicked when a team lines up to kick a field goal. Yeah, they could fake it, right, or something. But for 99% of the time, like, the play that's coming. You can't say that any other time of the game when the team is on, like, you don't know what a run, a pass, a screen. You don't know what's coming. On a field goal formation, why not then just dial up the field goal block every time they bring the fucking kicker out on the field? Why would you then just dial it up at that moment?
Dial it up.
Oh, my God.
It's like, Dable's a shitty coach because he doesn't call a touchdown in every play. Why aren't these coaches calling touchdowns?
They want so badly to label Ben Johnson a genius that they're going out of their way to do it. It's in the script. It's in the script. I don't know.
But why Johnson? Again, why are there certain guys that have to be anointed or elevated another guy? Like, why him? What has he done? What does the NFL owe him?
If you watch that Bears game, by the way, the offense looked terrible. They got bailed out because Geno Smith threw 3 picks. And every time Geno Smith threw those 3 picks, the Bears couldn't take advantage of it. The Bears were settling for 49-yard field goals from Cairo Santos.
Come on, Scott. Ben Johnson was setting him up for his brilliant field goal block call.
The only other thing I'd bring up around the league is Lamar Jackson. He had his hamstring injury, but for some reason, guys, I don't know where this is coming from. There's a groundswell of support for Lamar, like not only as an MVP candidate for this year at 1-3
where the Ravens are, but there's been at least two people that have now gone on air talking about Lamar's legacy. And I heard one this week from Nate Burleson. He said, and this is verbatim. He said, "Guys, we have to stop talking about Lamar as being just a good passer. He is one of the best passers in this era. We need to recognize that." And I have a problem with that because I think Lamar Jackson is a fantastic football player. He uses his legs to get a lot of where he goes. But from a passing standpoint, it's seen time and time again, especially in the playoffs when he's up against good defenses, he is not a great passer. He is an average passer who leads a team who keeps getting into the playoffs with a high seed, and his playoff record is, I think it's 3-5 now in his career.
You know what's incredible about that? Yes, this is the ultimate team sport, all those things. And when you're in the playoffs, you're playing against great defenses and good teams because that's what teams that are in the playoffs are good. But why is it you don't have to go back that far? And just as you were talking about that, Scott, I heard a little snippet about that, about Lamar, whatever, this week and his legacy. You know, he used to get. The guy ended up winning 2 of them with 2 different teams, championships I'm talking about. But, remember when Peyton Manning used to get murdered about his playoff record and it was highlighted? The fucking graphic came on every postseason, Manning's record about how he was media. But why is it why isn't that with Lamar? It gets brought up a little bit, but not really because we talk about his legacy. Well, guess what? Peyton Manning the guy was a legend while in his playing days before he even went to Denver. But, it was always but the guy in the playoffs, we know what he's done. He can't get over the hump. He can't get past Tom Brady. He can't do that. So how can a guy like Peyton Manning get trucked, by the media or whomever, as far as his inability to get things done? Why can't we do the fucking same for Lamar Jackson and his inability to get things done? I'm tired of giving guys excuses for what. I don't care if he had a bad hamstring or not. This Raven team looks lost right now. And you know what? I'm pointing at the quarterback. I don't care what his stats are. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm tired of guys not getting it done. I'll say this, and guys, especially in big games, right? And I know, they're playing, the Ravens have had a rough slate, right? I know they've had, they lost to the Lions. They lost to the Chiefs. I don't care, okay? Because you want to get past Mahomes and the Chiefs? You want to knock the Chiefs off of their pedestal as no longer the team to beat and stuff? Well, go and beat them then. Go and beat them. I don't even care if you're suffering from a hamstring injury. I know I'm sounding ridiculous right now, probably, but I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the media giving excuses to guys because they just want to, keep them in that spotlight, and guys that quietly get their job done and not getting enough credit. So, and Lamar Jackson, I'm done with him too.
Yep, I'm glad we're on this topic because there's 2 things, and Cardone, you just said it gets talked about a little bit now, his playoff failures, but it's always brought up so that everyone on that panel can immediately dismiss them.
Yep.
It's not someone ever questioning him. It's, well, what about his inability to get over the hump and even get to the Super Bowl, right? What about that? And they only bring it up so they can all tell us how dumb we are for thinking that. That's the only reason they bring it up. The other thing I'll bring up is 2 or 3 times a year, Lamar Jackson goes flipping bananas in a game, right? He scores 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing and has 289 yards passing and 110 rushing and, just goes bananas 2 or 3 times a year. The rest of the time, as good as he looks in the fourth quarter, the game is 17-17. In these games he's in, and Baltimore's defense plays great. And Lamar Jackson might get him into field goal range at the end, but he's I agree with everything. And I agree with that he's deserved an NFL MVP. I don't think he's deserved multiple. Because I think that, 2 years ago, he was the best player in football and it wasn't close. And that can happen, and you can be that, but he is not who the media sells us that he is.
No, and
he's not that guy.
Jason Lockenfora, and I sent this meme to you guys this week. He said last week, Lamar Jackson is the best football player on the planet, and it's not really all that close. Josh Allen is in the same zip code.
Justin Herbert is getting there. Those are the three guys he talks about at quarterback. Now, if I'm a guy like Jalen Hurts or something like that, I'm sort of pissed off about that. But putting that aside, the fact that he says that Jaxson is the best player on the planet and it's not even close. What does that say if the best player on the planet doesn't have any Super Bowl wins, hasn't even gotten to any AFC championship games, and he's the best player on the planet? So does that mean that Harbaugh sucks, or does that mean that?
No, that's the right question, Scott. Yeah. That's 100% the right question. So are we supposed to believe now that all these years that Baltimore, who's continually sniffing the Super Bowl, continually making deep playoff runs, they suck? Is that what we're supposed to believe? And they're only doing that because of Lamar Jackson, despite the fact that they, throughout the course of the regular season, continually win 13-10, 17-14. But, okay, that's what we're supposed to believe.
Well, how does Patrick Mahomes feel about a comment like that?
Yeah, Mahomes and Hurts said it. And here's my thing. This guy's opinion is immediately disqualified because did he just say Justin Herbert's the third best quarterback in the NFL?
He must have.
It's the end of that gets me more than the beginning. What do you mean he's getting there? How long has he been in the league now? I'm treading on my pet peeve a little bit, but that's the most insane statement I ever heard.
Oh my God!
He's getting there. Where's he going?
Getting where? He hasn't won a playoff game.
No. He hasn't looked good. At least Lamar Jackson has looked good in a couple playoff games.
Yeah.
But, well.
So as we move forward to the following week, Giants and Saints preview. I've had a number of people come up to me and say the Giants can't lose this game, can they? And I've said, we're the New York Giants. Who the hell do you think we should expect to beat? Yeah, we should not expect to beat anyone. This is in New Orleans. This is not in New York. This is in New Orleans. This is really a toss-up to me. I don't know what to say about the Giants other than without Neighbors, we're going to have to scrap for everything the rest of the year. And it'll be interesting to see how Dart gets guys like Theo Johnson involved, Wandale involved. Does Hyatt make an appearance? I saw Hyatt in on a number of snaps the other day, and he didn't do shit. He's not getting open. He's not doing anything.
Why is he on the roster?
He really should be.
Who was the kid in preseason who was playing so well who made the team?
He did make the team. Bo Collins is actually on the team.
Get him in the game. Get Hyatt out of there for crying out loud.
I was thinking about little Ron Humphrey. How about bringing him in?
Little Jordan.
Little Jordan. Little. Is it
Get
little
the
Jordan?
Slaytons
Little Ron
and the
Jordan,
Hyatts out of there.
Humphrey.
Come on. Cardone wants Slayton. Yeah, I think Cardone's going to get a Slayton jersey.
There's no way they make those. You order NFL, go to NFL Shop. They'd be like, "Sorry, we don't. His name's not showing up in our database."
Did you mean Darius Slay?
He's a starter for the New York Giants. What are you talking about? We just signed him 3 years, $36 million. Sorry, Mister. We don't no record of him in our system. Sorry.
Are you trying to say Darius Slay? No, Slayton.
I went for 2 jerseys and I got the Tracy jersey, which actually looks like a 56 in backwards, but it's 29. And then I got a Carter jersey, but I should have gone for Dart.
I just got news today that my Jaxson Dart Ole Miss number 2 jersey is in the United States. It's been
nice.
It's been about 5.5 months since I ordered it, so I'm just waiting.
Jeez.
I'm just waiting for it to get here. I told you the reason, right? It's because I don't believe Dart's going to stick with 6. That's the reason I'm not getting a Giants jersey. But
6, something about 6 doesn't look right. I don't know. I don't like it.
It doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what it is. But to break down the Giants Saints, I mean, again, at least it's fun to look ahead of the game this year. This is the first game I'm looking ahead at and being like, okay, all right, well let's kick it off and see what happens. I like the Giants' chances in this, and it really doesn't have much to do with Dart or missing Neighbors or anything. It's, Herbert and that crew, and for the Chargers, are a better offensive unit than Spencer Rattler and whoever else they got with with the
Well,
Saints.
I do worry about Kamara, the way we let Hampton run wild on us.
Yeah.
But if that fucking albino beats us, fuck us. You know,
Yeah. There's
really
this defense is quietly playing really good, and people aren't really paying attention because we gave up 40 in Dallas and because of our record. But you mentioned it at the Open, Scott. My God, Brian Burns is everywhere on this field. And do we lose that game if he doesn't get that sack in the fourth quarter? I think we probably lose the game. Yeah. And that was such a huge sack. But that is not anywhere near the only play he made in that game. And I don't know what the Saints offensive line is like. I don't know anything about the Saints other than people tell me they're probably the worst team in football in a league that the New York Giants play in. So that's kind of weird to me to hear that. Yeah, so I'm excited. It's the first game this year other than the opener, which everyone's always excited about the opener. I'm literally excited for this game. And again, whoever said they can't lose to the Saints, I mean, fuck off, dude. Yes, they can. And they might. And maybe you'd even say they probably will.
I'm not a guy who likes these very much, but by the way, was Brian Burns' Spider-Man celebration as good as Fred Robbins doing the defibrillator?
I don't even know if I pay attention to those things. That stuff. I don't.
I know this. But if someone else did it, like if someone did it against the Giants, I'd be like, fuck that guy.
I know.
When Brian Burns did it, I was like, that is the best celebration I've ever seen. So but I can admit to my shortcomings when it comes to that.
Yeah, but you guys are right. I don't know anything about that. The only thing I know about the New Orleans Saints is that they're a desperate football team, like we were this past week. When you're winless, and you have a team, and you have a team coming in the Giants without their best receiver now, and with a guy only making his second start in his NFL career. Yeah, you bet the Saints are thinking like, shit, we can win this game. There's like we've said this before on our pod. Like, we look at the schedule like, oh, we got the Saints coming up next. We can win that game. Fucking Saints are doing the same thing. Who do we got next week? The Giants. Oh, we can win that game. Yep. We got the Giants coming in. So I don't know if we're doing predictions just yet, but absolutely. Listen, I don't think the Saints are bad enough to go 0-17, so they're going to get a win somewhere. Why can't this be the week they get a win?
Why can't the home game against the Giants be one of their 2 or 3 wins? Absolutely could be.
Guys, we talk about bad games on the schedule. I mean, think about this. It's 0-4 versus 1-3. I mean, this is one of those just unwatchable games. It's sort of like I think we have Houston and Baltimore. Houston's 0-4 and against 1-3, or maybe they're 1-3 against 1-3.
We gotta see the broadcast team we get for this, because that is no doubt the Fox Zero broadcast team. We're gonna get an English guy who usually calls soccer, and Pele.
I want to Pele. I want to know what has made the point spread swing 4 points in the Saints' favor, because if I have this right, the Giants opened as a 2.5 favorite, and now they're dogged by 1.5. Do you guys have that?
Really? That would mean there's a lot of money going to the Giants, right, Scott?
No, against the Giants.
They're dogs. So they're trying to entice people to bet on the Giants. Yes. So they're trying. Okay, you're right. There's a lot of money going on the Saints.
The spread has moved 4 points in the Saints' favor.
That's a big move.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I didn't even see the Giants at plus or minus 2.5. I saw them at minus 1.5 the first time I looked.
I'm looking at ESPN Sportsbook, and I'm showing the Giants are plus. Giants are getting 1.5.
We have to bet on them now.
So, and I knew they opened up the other day as a favorite, because I was going to mention it tonight. Like, holy shit, the Giants. When was the last time we were favored, let alone on the road?
A road favorite.
Nope, never mind. Nope, it's swung the other way. Giants are underdogged again.
Yeah.
So without Novak here, I don't know that there's much we could talk about with the Jets-Cowboy preview. I know that the Cowboys, still CeeDee Lamb's probably out. But with the Jets, I mean, the Jets still have Justin Fields as their quarterback. So I don't know really what to say there. So we can probably go.
The Cowboys still found 40 without CeeDee Lamb. Yeah.
Well,
it's a shame if you're a Cowboy fan. This offense is elite. The defense can't stop anybody. Anybody can't stop anything.
I think we'll talk about that because I think Cardone has that as a pet peeve, and then I have a aspect of that game as my pet peeve. So I also have another one. So
We'll
if,
get
if
there.
Cardone's tramples on mine, I don't know.
No,
But
it's all right. I have two pet peeves this week, and yeah, I don't know where do you want to go. Oh,
let's go to predictions first.
Can I mention, so just around the league? Can I mention one more game?
Sure.
I think it makes mention, or is a note. I was being out of town. I didn't see a lot of the NFL slate on Sunday. I was watching bits and pieces. I was also watching a lot of the Ryder Cup. That's one of my pet peeves. So I'll get into that. I just kind of gave that one away. But I happen to hear the statistic that the Philadelphia Eagles did not complete a pass in the second half. I didn't hear about that
until
they
were 0-8.
So I went 0 for 8. I went and looked at the play-by-play and the box score. Do you know how many total yards the Eagles had in the second half? I just looked it up. They had 19 total yards. They punted the ball 6 times out of 7 possessions. The one possession they did score a touchdown was after the Buccaneers coughed it up and gave it to them on the 25-yard line, which the Eagles promptly punched it in and was the difference in the game. So they didn't complete a pass. They had 6 out of 7 drives were punts. 3 of those possessions went for negative yards. 1 went for 0 yards. And the whole thing I kept thinking was, can you imagine the New York Football Giants with statistics like that on the road at a team that's 3-0, mind you, in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and fucking still winning the game? Can you imagine that? No. How does this team do it?
Not possible.
Why do they do it?
I think the whole year preseason coming into the year, all that, I thought the Eagles were going to be really good with a very good chance to repeat. And I still think that a little bit, but this team has warts, man.
I have a lot of warts.
This team might be a house of cards right now. They have played poorly enough to lose back-to-back games. Now they haven't, so the spotlight's off of them. Yeah. But this is a team that's got flaws. And I think they're riding right now. Teams are afraid of them. I'm afraid of them. I'm not even looking at the Saints, to be honest with you. I'm thinking ahead 2 weeks and how bad that could get.
Well, and Philadelphia gets Denver coming into Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Denver's not a bad team, but I don't think a West Coast team like Denver comes into Philadelphia and beats them. So,
probably not.
So. By the way, since we went back and talked about it around the league, I wanted to bring up something too. Just that Ireland game. If you guys watched, I know Mike watched that too. We heard Greg Olson talk about how it was his first time ever having Guinness, and the guy didn't like it that much. And besides that, I just wanted to talk about the fact they treated this game as if the Steelers like fucking built Ireland, like Art Rooney or not, what the Rooney, Dan Rooney, which one just died or whatever. They made it sound like Dan Rooney was fucking like Irish to the core, and he was always in Ireland, and this was his dream to have the Steelers play in Ireland. Like that storyline, like it's like, what the hell, man? It's a game in Ireland. It's the first game in Ireland. Why are we beating it to death like the Steelers somehow are Irish royalty or something like that?
Well, we got to do it. We got to hammer home a narrative. We got to hear a little bit of a side piece of a story that Dan Rooney likes Ireland, and we got to take it all the way, baby. He just hammer it, nail it. He loves Ireland. If he could make his choice right now, it'd be the Ireland Steelers. Just shut up. Just shut up.
Put a little green in uniform.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did I hear this right? Did you just say Greg Olson had never had a Guinness?
That's what he said. That's what he said during the broadcast. And he goes, and you know what? He goes, I drank it. It was okay. It wasn't great.
Well, where did this guy grow up? What? How is that even possible?
I don't know.
It's not like he grew up wholesome. I don't know if you guys ever heard. It's hard to find, but if you ever get a moment, go on YouTube and look up Greg Olson rap from when he was with the Hurricanes.
Oh, jeez.
It's some shit that couldn't be on the radio. I'll tell you that.
So, since we're to that point, let's do predictions.
Predictions. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go through quickly through what happened last week. Novak, who was in last place, went 3-1 last week, so he got his lock correct. He missed. We all missed by picking the Chargers, by the way. So that's everyone got at least one loss because we all picked the Chargers. So he goes to 12-4. Novak goes to 12-4, and he did call in his picks earlier, so we have them for when we get started. Cost went 2-2. Cost got his lock pick right, but he picked the Chargers and the Jets. So Cost goes 2-2, and so he's now 13-3.
Who was my lock pick, by the way?
Your lock pick for last week was hang on, where are you here?
I thought it was
because you tried to pick Buffalo, but we already had him. You took Detroit.
Oh, you took Detroit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so you're 13-3, Scott, a game ahead of Novak. Cardone, who came into the game, who came into this week 12-0, also picked the Chargers and the Jets to go 0-2 for the picks, but he got his lock pick correct, which was Buffalo. So Cardone one game ahead of Scott at 14-2. And Mike, who also came in undefeated, also I went 3-1 this week because I did pick the whoever beat the Jets, Miami. I did pick Miami, but I also picked the Chargers, so I lost. So I'm 15-1. So the records are 15-1, Mike, Cardone 14-2, Cost 13-3, and Novak 12-4. That's where we stand. So we're all one game apart.
So I think you go first, Mike. Don't you?
I do go first.
Yeah.
I do. So the Giants at New Orleans, as I mentioned earlier, of course the Giants could lose this game. There's no doubt. However, I'm going to do the stupidest thing in the world, and probably might be one of the last chances I have to pick a Giants win this year. So I'm going to pick the Giants to win this game. Ugly. It's kind of the same type of game as last week. Maybe the Giants play clearly better than the Saints, but it's still going to be close at the end. But I think the Giants get a late field goal to increase the lead because Dable learned something from last week, and they go on to win 23-16 on the road, New York Giants. I have Dallas just rolling the Jets. Dallas just rolling. The Jets can't keep up with Dallas scoring, and that's pretty much all the analysis you need there. So I have Dallas getting to a 40-burger again, which I think will be the third week in a row. They are beating the Jets 40-20.
Mm-hmm.
My lock of the week is the Arizona Cardinals. And they play the winless Tennessee Titans.
We might be on that one, too.
Who I finally kind of dug into a little bit this week to figure out what's going on there. And let's just say Jaxson Dart may have been a little bit of a better pick than Cam Ward. I'll leave it at that. We can get into that later in the year.
I almost brought that up in around the league, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just Jaxson Dart. Yeah.
All right.
Cardone.
All right. I will kick it off with the Giant game as well. And, this was one, I have to say, I wrote the score down, and then I had this team winning, and then I flipped it and went the opposite, just thinking this is one of those games. I don't know if you could tell which direction I went, what I had first, and then when I switched it up. But I just thought about, you know what? This is the NFL. This is everyone thinks the Giants are going to win, including myself, because of if they beat the Chargers, then they'll certainly go down to New Orleans and beat them. But this is the NFL. It doesn't work that way. I just have a feeling that New Orleans, for whatever reason, is going to play. They're going to rise up at home because they have a winnable game, just like we were just talking about a few minutes ago.
Yep.
I think Kamara's going to have a big game. I think on the ground, I don't think Spencer Rattler's going to do a whole lot. But I can see the Saints. We got 2 turnovers from Herbert this weekend. We'll go back to our Giant defensive ways and not force a turnover. I think the Saints scratch out a win and do enough to get things done. Dart will have his first turnover, I think, in his career in this game, and the absence of Malik Neighbors is going to show its ugly head. I can already see Dart trying to force the ball to Darius Slayton in a 3rd and 11. And Dart being rushed out of the pocket, and he'll throw an errant pass picked off. So after all that, the deliberation. I got New Orleans winning 20-16. One of those low-scoring NFL affairs, I guess. So give me the dreaded Saints, which is awful to pick. And then, yeah, just because the Jets are it's one of the Jets now are like the team. Like, I picked them last week thinking that they would rise up against Miami. That didn't happen. Now I'm back to like not being able to pick the Jets until they actually win a game. So I'm going to get another one wrong somewhere in there with the Jets eventually because I can't pick them to win. I don't. So give me Dallas. I got actually a close game. I don't know why I wrote down. I have Dallas 24-17. So I got the Saints. I got the Cowboys. And then my lock, which I actually changed up today, I am going with tomorrow's game. I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams over the Niners.
The Rams.
No Brock Purdy. They're missing Kittle still. They got no receivers. They got all kinds of injuries, the 49ers, which somehow the injury bug with this franchise now, they can't seem to stay on the field. No. When I saw Purdy I know they lost to the Jags last week, and I don't see them going into LA and winning that game. So give me the Rams tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's funny. I had the 49ers making a deep Super Bowl run. I thought that was a stealing pick because they had so many injuries last year that people are overlooking them, but they are right back in that boat. And ironically, knock wood, Christian McCaffrey's fine somehow. The rest of the team is falling apart. McCaffrey's fine.
The Niners will get healthy when they play us though in week week 9 or something.
That.
Yeah, so they'll be full barrel.
Don't worry about
By the way, the guy I love, and I think he's awesome to watch as an opposing fan, is Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua. So, for me, Giants, I see both where Mike and Cardone are coming from. This is a tough game for me because the Giants are not set up to beat anyone. And if they do win, it's going to take a little bit of luck in a couple of ways. So I'm taking the Giants to win this one. I am. I think Jaxson Dart continues his winning ways, only because I do not want to see Spencer Rattler beat the fucking New York Giants. No. It's just one of those things where it would bother me on multiple levels. So I have the Giants winning 21-17. In the Jets game, I also agree with Mike that the Cowboys will score some points. However, the Cowboys defense is so porous. I see the Jets scoring some points too, but the Cowboys will hold on and win this game 28-24. And then my lock
for Dallas. Okay.
And my lock is the same as Mike's. It's Arizona. By the way, I was going to go with Detroit, but I can't because I used them last week. So I'm going with Arizona.
Yeah. Okay, Novak has phoned his in. Novak is taking and then, by the way, no commentary on this, so I didn't get any context. I just got scores, so I will let the listener decide the context. I think it speaks. Both of these picks speaks volume of what Novak thinks of the state of our teams. Novak has the Giants beating the Saints 17-9. Very Giants-like score in a win or loss, by the way. He kind of agrees with us on Dallas. Of course, he's harder on the Jets than we are, but he's got Dallas winning 31-10. And his lock is the Baltimore Ravens because when he lost a couple weeks ago with his pick, he reset. So he's got Baltimore back on the table. So he's going back to Baltimore.
Baltimore. Who does Baltimore? Oh, they have the Houston at home.
They have Houston. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Pet. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
Pet peeves. I'll start this week. I have two of them. And the first one is, if anyone watched the Penn State Oregon game, just in college in general, you'll see these things called whiteouts, purple outs, whatever the whiteout thing is, whatever the crowd does. Guys, I was watching this game, and by the way, Penn State lost this game, and I think it was in overtime. But regardless of whether they lost the game in overtime or not, it was close to overtime, and Penn State was coming back, and the announcer's like, well, the whiteout is doing its job. What is the job of a whiteout? What is the job of a crowd? Is it really causing a team, by the way, who was favored because they were the third ranked team in the nation to win? They are not winning this game, and all of a sudden because they pull ahead or they pull tied, the whiteout did its job.
The
So
whiteout.
so guys, we hear this all the time about like fans doing things. It's fine if the fans do it, but then don't like make it seem like that had an impact on the end of the game. Because by the way, at the end of the game, Penn State lost.
Right.
They lost. That's all
They
that
lost.
matters.
And then I'll get into this in a second, but you know, if you guys remember back a few years ago, St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup, and their theme song was "Gloria" from Laura Branigan.
Still haven't figured that one out, but yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember
I don't
the
know
theme
why it
song
was
for
either.
them. Why? Yeah.
But I was just watching the Dodger game earlier against well,
Reds.
it's on right now against the Reds, and
Yeah.
they hit an extra base hit. There they are doing this dance again. It's like, why is this dance back in vogue? It's like, guys, this was last year. Can we not move on to the following year? Why are we doing the same dance? You know, so I never understood the blues thing, but you don't see the blues 4 years later still doing fucking Lauren Branigan with Gloria. So I just wanted that. And
Gloria.
then I don't know if
Laura Branigan.
I really don't know if this is going to stomp on yours, Cardone, but just the whole production on Monday night of Micah Parsons returning to Dallas, the pregame, the in-game camera on Micah. What the fuck was this all about? I mean, in the pregame, we literally had a like 7-minute storyline of what happened with Jerry and Micah being, pissed off about being traded and this, that, and the other thing. The guy was traded from one team to another. Why are we causing the entire game to be built around this one player?
He didn't win a championship there. He didn't. Yeah, there was no scandal really. It was just like you said. It was just a guy. There's former players around every league that eventually play their former team. Happens all the time. It's a good one, Scott. I don't know. No, it wasn't exactly. That wasn't my peeve at all. But you're right, dude. And I think what further intensifies the pet peeve is that it's coming. It's coming.
So predictable.
Like all week, it's coming, and then when you see it, it doesn't make it any more bearable.
They showed Jerry Jones at his desk talking about Micah Parsons. And they show Micah Parsons in front of his locker, and they show Micah Parsons in front of the camera doing the Micah Parsons linebacker, Penn State. The intro to Sunday Night Football. Like why is this a storyline? We understand what the story is, but why are you making the entire game about that?
and you got to find a cowboy.
Oh no, Cardone locked up.
He locked up a little bit. Okay, we'll give him a second.
But that was the other thing too. I mean,
Wait, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. All right, go. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know how much you heard because
we heard you have to have a cowboy, and then that cut off. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the camera has to find a cowboy. The camera has to find the cowboy fan with the Micah Parsons jersey on. Stay locked in on the person. Go around to find the 11s in the white jersey in the stands. Still, you saw a few of those. It's just, you're right, Scott. It's the entire production from start to finish. It's nauseating.
Boring, unoriginal, and lame.
And yet predictable. Go, Mike.
And predictable.
Big
one. Yeah, big one. Predictable.
You're up, Mike.
Oh, thank you. Hey, I got like, that's kind of two, but they're so closely tied together. I'm going to just try to wrap it into one. So yeah, the Thursday night game this past week was Seattle and Arizona. And so, I've gotten to a pretty good point on Sunday where I know exactly when to turn the TV on to see the foot hit the ball so I don't watch any pregame.
Yep.
I'm not really good at that on the primetime games. I still haven't really figured out. Like, I always tune in either too early or I think I'm right on time and it's like 10 minutes gone in the first quarter. I haven't found the spot. But so I accidentally, what I'm trying to say is saw some pregame. And so I heard this comment in pregame and I laughed. And I immediately put it in the notes in my phone because I said, I got to talk about this on the podcast because who gets this treatment, right? So they're talking about Kyler Murray. And I forget who the guy was. I wish I wrote down the guy who said it. I didn't. But the comment was, all right, Kyler Murray, it's year 7. It's time.
Oh.
I'm like, 7 years? Is that what you get when it's time? Are you shitting me with Kyler Murray?
They didn't say that about Daniel Jones, by the way.
No,
right,
certainly not.
Most
They were like-
quarterbacks in year 7 is when they really start to get
No.
it.
Remember
I mean-
with Daniel Jones, it was like, how do we keep this guy around 6 years when he's playing like this?
No, we should have kept him one more year.
Eli Manning was winning two championships by like year 8, and like he was, still like had to prove himself.
Yeah. Kyler Murray, it's year 7. It's time. Like that, they almost said it like it was going to be a threat. Like, you better watch out for Kyler Murray. It's year 7. I died laughing. I said these things. So I started thinking about it, and I think I kind of mentioned this in a podcast in a pet peeve segment a couple weeks ago. But the way the media works now, and the way that we're being told who to root for and who not to root for, quarterback evaluation is entirely too tied to win-loss record. It just is entirely too tied to that. And I have two really good examples right now in the NFL. And I'm not saying these guys aren't good quarterbacks. I'm just saying the level the media has raised them to does not fit what they've done in this league. And that is Bo Nix and Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have been on teams that have won. Bo Nix, I believe the Broncos went to the playoffs last year or just missed.
They did.
And now they're
playoffs.
winning a couple games early this year, albeit schedule's pretty soft. And I think they'd be right the same record as us if they played the same schedule we did. But Bo Nix gets talked about like he's approaching elite level, right? We talked about Justin Herbert earlier in this podcast, which I don't know what he's done to be considered the 3rd best quarterback in football, but the Chargers have won a lot of games since he's been there. They haven't really done much else, but and I don't know how much a part of that he's been. But you can look at this from both sides. First of all, just to go down the Jordan Love train, I honestly do not know what this guy did to get the reputation he has earned in the NFL. And it's
Great
like
point,
they're desperate to keep the narrative going that Green Bay just knows how to cultivate quarterbacks, and they went from Favre to Rodgers to Love seamlessly. They love that narrative, and it's not holding up right now. Love is not Favre or Rodgers.
No.
It's not even particularly close. And, I think Bo Nix is headed down that same trail. Now, I'll tell you 2 other guys in this league who play pretty well, who get dismissed like garbage because they've not produced a bunch of wins. And that is Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones. These are 2 quarterbacks who, when they've played and when they've been healthy, Jones is just proving it now. Trevor Lawrence has been down there in Jacksonville doing it for a while. He's a good player. He's not a great player, but there are people dismissing him as garbage and trying to, he's playing much better this year, so I think that's quieted down a little bit. But there are people who were laughing at Trevor Lawrence and trying to run him out of Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is not a problem for Jacksonville. He's just not. He's a good quarterback, but because of the coaching and the other players around him, he's not been able to produce a great amount of wins since he's been there. That looks like it's about to change. Duval. And then, of course, we just talked about Kyler Murray, who is sort of the worst of all those worlds. He's produced no wins, virtually. And but it's year 7, so we just keep trying. We just keep pumping I'm sure in year 7, if Jaxson Dart has 21 career wins in year 7, people are going to be like, all right, it's Jaxson Dart. Time to go, Jackson.
People are like in New York, how could you give Daniel Jones 6 years? Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with Kyler Murray, it's like, it's year 7. Let's go.
Yeah. Here we go. Year 7, baby. And there's one other quick one I don't know if you guys have seen, but I'm all over the gambling shit in the NFL. So, before the primetime games, they come on, and this is 2 of my pet peeves melded into one, and it's just so delicious. I love it. So they do the over-unders right before the game. Like they pick 3 things from DraftKings that are over-unders. And they're like, Trevor Lawrence will have 225 yards rushing. This running back will get 17 carries. And, this player will score at least 2 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. I want you guys to start pay attention to this. This is going to be one of those things that we keep an eye on over the course of a few weeks here. Nobody picks the unders. Ever.
Ever. So true.
Because, again, it's like what we've talked about before. They just want to give these guys blowjobs. They just want that's all they're like, oh, Trevor Lawrence, he's primed for this game. He might be close to 225 at halftime. He goes over this number. And then they're talking about this running back. And this run defense isn't very good. He's been hot lately. I see a trend here. He's going for 3 touchdowns tonight. He's going over. They never, ever, ever say, I think Lawrence is going to struggle tonight. I don't think he hits 225. Ever.
I make money on the unders. I think
a lot of people do make money on the unders, but these guys are so hardwired now to not criticize a player that this over-under segment is just a joke. They all pick the over for everything. It's keep an eye on it. I'm sure we'll talk about it in upcoming weeks. It'll be something to. So all you gamblers sitting there waiting with DraftKings on your phone, waiting to see what Jason Garrett has to say about the over-under on passing yards for Marcus Mariota next week. Just know he's taking the over. You don't have to watch it. He's going to take the over.
I have a thing about announcers anyway. Jason Garrett's horrible, by the way.
Oh, my God. He is
bad. He's unwatchable.
Tough to look at, tough to listen to, tough to think about.
That whole Sunday night broadcast, you have Jason Garrett, you have Jack Collinsworth, who is basically Chris Collinsworth in a clone. That Chris Sims. They're all those guys they're almost unlistenable to.
It's a tough broadcast to watch. I do watch it because of Maria Taylor. But she's gorgeous, man. She is awesome. But Chris Sims,
she's too
and then
tall
they bring
for my
Dungy
TV
on.
screen.
Is there anyone on that broadcast who has a single ball? Everyone on there is like such a pansy. Jason Garrett, Chris Sims, Tony Dungy, Jack Collinsworth. Get out of here.
Jack with
the giant pussy
Garrett's
Hall of Fame.
Worst. Garrett is the worst. I can't even look at him.
Cardone, pet peeves?
Yeah. So, I'm going to start with just the fact that on Sunday night's game, Packers Cowboys, the Bad Bunny announcement for the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm surprised, actually, we hadn't brought it up yet tonight, but just that in itself, like, knock it off, football fans. Oh, my God. So I just had to mention that. It's not even a peeve of mine. I just wanted to mention it in the peeve section just because I found it just nauseating, just Bad Bunny.
What's good about that, though? I mean, Mike brings it up all the time. That is another example of pandering to the fringe fan. Of course. Like you're just trying to expand the audience. It doesn't matter if the guy doesn't really have songs in English or not. It doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter anymore. Apparently, the native language of the United States of America doesn't even factor in. It doesn't factor in.
Well, that's what I thought was exactly funny about that, Cardone. I'm glad you brought it up because everyone's like, oh, all these old men don't like that he's not going to speak English. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm annoyed by the way they announced it. That's all I care about. Who gives a shit? I'm not going to watch the halftime show. I don't care who it is.
It's just, and then, no, really, the game itself, I'm going to read a tweet here, which I thought it was, I was scrolling through earlier today just to try to find some fun. This is actually one that stood out. There is nothing more disgusting than a tie in American football. Nothing, period. And I think we all feel the same way, guys. You can tell where I'm going with this. And we've talked about this one before. I'm sure we're in season 6. I don't remember exactly when we which one of us brought up the tie in the NFL or what season it was. So I'm sure we're doing a repeat here of this one. But just the fact that the NFL can still trot ties out there. They talk about what's in the best interest of the fans? What do the fans love? Let's cater to the fans. Well, guess what? Every fan in America, just like this one right here. That's why I selected this one. There's nothing more disgusting than a tie in American football. It absolutely should not exist. Wins, losses, and that's it. Get rid of that fucking T on the right side of the screen because nobody wants to deal with these things. Now we got it. And what bothers me is now we got the whole season of trying to figure out. Not that Green Bay will be involved. I don't know. I don't think Dallas will be involved in the playoff mix. Now we got to figure out these half game
projections now.
Yeah. Now we got to figure out these half game projections and it bothers me just in the playoff scenarios where if Detroit wins or ties, they clinch the division. Knock it off. No one's thinking of a tie. Stop putting that in there. But here lo and behold, and not to mention it comes in one of those up and down stop somebody defense that nobody can, just put somebody out there to stop somebody. 80 total points, and we end in a tie. The overtime rule itself, we can't get that right. We used to be pissed off that if you won the coin flip, you came down, kicked the field goal. Oh, wait a minute, the other team didn't get the ball. We know the rule. We know what they've done to overtime. Guys, just make it stop. Put the fucking overtime back to 15 minutes and just play until someone figure it out. You want to get both teams the ball? I'm actually okay with that. Do something then that maybe college football. I was not a fan of college football's overtime. I've become a big fan of that format. Do something to get rid of these ties because nobody wants to deal with them. Especially, we just don't. So just the game itself wrapped up in a tie was my peeve. And then I got to give an honor. I gave a prelude to this a little earlier tonight. The U.S. Ryder Cup team, let me tell you guys, Friday and Saturday, these 4-ball and foursome formats, figure it out, man. Figure it out because this has been going on now. They've lost 9 out of 12 Ryder Cups. This team doesn't even compete on Friday and Saturday. Yeah, I know you gave us some hope and some, you got us off the couch on Sunday with the singles matches, but true to American culture, we can't team sports. It's the Euros. They're just better at playing team ball than they are as a single. So the Ryder Cup, Keegan Bradley made some bad decisions. It sounded like in terms of my peeve within my peeve. How about waking up on Sunday? It was 11.5 to 4.5. And then we see 12-5 on the screen. I'm like, where did this extra half point come from for each squad? And then I realized, wait a minute, Victor Hovland, we had to then figure out there's only 11 matches. Finally, like an hour into the fucking broadcast, do they mention that Victor Hovland pulled out with a neck injury and each team gets a half point? Well, how the hell how does that rule exist where you get a half point? Because then everybody was texting the same thing. Well, why doesn't 5 European guys just lay down and you just win the cup that way? Just lay down like NFL defenses do when you're trying to get the fake timeout. Just hit the turf. I tell you what, when they were pouring champagne at the end of the day, I saw Hovland tilting his neck back, drinking some champagne. He couldn't have been that injured. It looked like he was doing okay then. And then finally, lastly, my last one, and then the fact that when you hold the cup, all you need is 14 points, which there's 28 points to be given out. There's 8, and then what is it? Yeah, 12, right? 8 on Friday, 8 Saturday, and then the 12 singles on Sunday. So there's a total of 28 points. The Europeans need 14. We need 14.5. Knock that off because guess what? If that ends in a tie, do the same thing. Go to some kind of sudden death. Come up with some kind of format to change that rule. It's unbelievable.
I will say I'll say this about watching the Ryder Cup because the Europeans played out of their mind, and the one guy on the broadcast crew that was European, he kept saying, "Guys, this isn't about the Americans. This is about the Europeans playing really well." True. And I kept listening to the crowd being so bad, so over the top with Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry that I felt myself rooting for Lowry. And every time Lowry would drain a putt and he'd look at the crowd and give him the "fuck you" symbol, I was like, this is awesome because, we act like assholes in the crowd. We act like fucking assholes.
Yeah, this country's circling the drain as far as that shit like that goes. That's pathetic, loser. Loser behavior.
It is. It is. And yeah, I don't disagree, Scott, but like it's still hard to. I mean, you're rooting so hard for like the the American team, really to be competitive and give us something to watch. And I know they made a quite a rally on Sunday, but you knew it was going to come up short. But yeah, I mean the footnote to that is these golf fans are throwing. Knock it off, man. Just knock it off. I don't like it. Just throwing. It's Rory McIlroy, for God's sakes, the guy who's been on the tour. I know he's rubbed some people the wrong way. I'm actually a McIlroy fan. I actually am. I like.
I love Shane Lowry.
So do I.
I always have.
Lowry's another one. So when I watch the PGA Tour a lot during the year, it depends on which turn. You end up rooting for different guys based on what's happening on the weekend or whatever. So I have found myself rooting for McIlroy. Man, I don't understand. I don't understand that mentality. Throwing a color, throwing anything at these players, man. Like, knock it off. Like, we're rabid fans, and we'll listen. I made some woman's day miserable. At Boise, I'll take ownership of that. You know what I mean? But I'm not throwing something at the woman, right? I mean, and I'm not barking at her. I'm barking at the team. Sorry if you. Again, we've always said I didn't come into your living room, ma'am, and stand in front of between you and your TV. Then you would have you would have a case against me. I'm barking at my own team, which is the same team you're rooting for, on getting some pressure on the opposing team's quarterback. That's all I was doing, ma'am.
And I'll tell you this. I mean, I watch a lot of golf. I love Justin Rose. I love Terrell Hatton. I love, Tommy Fleetwood. Those guys played out of their mind during this week, and you have to just give them credit. And we do that a lot on this pod too. There are times the Giants lose, but there's also times that the other team wins. And this was a case of the Europeans winning, and that's what makes me most sad about this. I went to the President's Cup, which was in Charlotte 2 years ago, and it was a great time. People had they were raucous. It was a fun-filled event, but it never crossed the line. And it seemed like in the Ryder Cup it crossed the line a couple of times.
It does. I'll just roll back one quick thing to Cardone's point about overtime in the NFL. Just do the college thing. They figured it out. I agree. I was super skeptical of it. I thought it was stupid, but it's great. It's exciting. They're deciding the games playing football. It's not some stupid skills competition like the NHL. It comes down to the same thing. Keep the team out of the end zone. And
Exactly.
It's a quick and easy way to give each team the ball, and then they make it go for two in the second overtime, which is a great ad. Because they're trying to get the game over too. They just don't want teams who can't stop each other continually scoring and kicking extra points. So they figured this out. There's no need to look to other sports. There's no need to keep doing the stupid thing you're doing. If you're giving the team the full field and you're only giving them 10 minutes, that's you're saying I want both teams to have the ball.
And the clock never stops.
And the clock never stops. That's a possession for each team. You're going to have a lot of ties under that scenario. 2 stops.
That's it.
2 stops.
And that's what happened in Sunday night's game. Each team got the ball once, literally, in 10 minutes, of course.
Yep. Because if you're the first team to get the ball, if you're smart, I mean, Dable didn't do this when we played Dallas, but you just run your regular offense. You try to get 4 first downs on that drive and take 6 minutes off the clock. And then if you score, the other team's in deep shit. Everything the NFL does is completely contrary to what they say they want to do.
Yeah, I had a problem with Dable in that overtime because all we needed to do was run the ball. We didn't have to act like it was the last minute of the game.
No, he played it like it was like sudden death. I dislike that guy every week less. And you would think after a win we'd be like, "Oh, Dable made some." No, Dable was awful again. Get him out.
We do have several questions this week. First one is from Coons.
All right.
Now that we are a quarter through the season, do we want to change our Super Bowl picks? So my Super Bowl pick was the Packers against the Bills. And while I will say the Packers may not be there, given what they've done the last couple weeks, I'm sticking with the Packers Bills.
Mine was Eagles and Bills, and both of those teams are undefeated. So I'm tracking okay a quarter through the season. So I've got Eagles and Bills with the Eagles winning. So no, I'm still good, Coons.
All right, good for you guys. I want to 100% change my picks for the Super Bowl. I don't remember who I officially picked, but I know I had the 49ers making a deep run. They are clearly out of their depth. And I think I had 49ers Baltimore, I actually believe was my I'd like to change both of those. I do think while the Ravens are trying to figure it out and the Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs anymore, the Bills still look like the Bills. So even though they couldn't get by those teams in the playoffs, maybe they've just outlasted them. Maybe maybe they've just hung in there long enough and been good long enough to outlast them. So I like the Bills from the AFC. And then from the NFC, I still think from the NFC we're getting a surprise. And I know Scott wasn't online when I went off on Jordan Love a few minutes ago. So I don't think it's the Packers. I think a team like the Rams.
Yeah.
Just something like that. I don't know what it is. The Eagles are warty, and they'll probably make it anyway because it just seems like they've got a lot of luck on their side, as Cardone spelled out perfectly earlier tonight. But yeah, I like a team like the Rams. It certainly seems like that NFC North, which people had high hopes for this year, they're weakened. Minnesota stinks. The Bears stink, which I don't know why anyone thought they might be decent. So yeah, I'm going to go kind of a nutty Super Bowl call here as the LA Rams and the Buffalo Bills.
And then Coons asks something we already talked about a little bit. Do you know who Bad Bunny is and how? I knew who Bad Bunny was, but I knew him from Bullet Train. He played one of the bad guys in Bullet Train. I also knew he was a rapper, but I know nothing of any of his songs.
I didn't know shit. No, I didn't know. I'm like, so, and I'm kind of happy to say I don't. I don't know. I don't listen to that crap. I don't pay attention. I did not know who Mr. Bunny was. No.
It's completely the same. I want to say maybe I heard his name pop up at other things, but I never paid much attention. And I also want to go on record as saying I don't care. Like there's a lot of people angry because Bad Bunny apparently is. I don't care. I just would like that on the record at all.
By the way, guys, watch
Noted.
Bullet Train's a good movie.
I have seen Bullet Train. It is good.
Train.
And I didn't know Bad Bunny was in it. So maybe I'll have to go watch it again.
He played one of the bad guys in it.
Oh.
So my friend Mike asked.
Not good, Bunny.
Right.
My friend Mike asked if, well, this was more for Novak, and I don't know if this is actually applicable. He said, any optimism that Fields can be serviceable going forward. I didn't think, Fields outside of his 70-yard TD run, which was a run, not a pass, I don't think he looked like a quarterback. So I don't really have much optimism there from a outside standpoint.
I think Novak and I have been in pretty much lockstep with Fields this year. So I kind of feel a little like I might be able to put words in his mouth on this, but I really thought we were looking at a different cat after week 1. And the rest of the time, he's just been the same old dude. So I'm as a serviceable quarterback, I just say no. He's just the same as he's always been. He's going to have a 50, 60, 70-yard run in a game. He's not going to help you win that game.
No.
You can't look at individual plays. You got to look at the entire game. And he's done that throughout his career, broken these highlight reel runs that just make the desk jockeys at ESPN like stand up and go nuts and put him on some stupid segment called You Got Mossed or something, and then his team loses by 35. I mean, it's just been who he is.
He's going nowhere. Jets are going nowhere. So no, it's Fields.
I love that he got Moss. That could be a pet peeve in its own. But Mike also asked, did the offensive line play against the Clippers? I love the use of the word term Clippers.
Good use. Good job,
Mike. Even though they gave up 6 sacks, did they play well enough? And I'll say this: the offensive line still has improvement. They're a average offensive line. They're not the worst offensive line. So we still have to go upwards from there.
No doubt in my mind that if Russell Wilson played in that game, that the Giants lose it and they don't get over 10 points. Because if they got 6 sacks on Jaxson Dart, they would have gotten 9 on Russell Wilson.
Probably. No, the line still has a long way to go. There's just a lot of work to do there.
And I know this one might have some takers from you guys. Any TV shows from 20 plus years ago that you're rewatching? My son's been rewatching Sopranos. It's not from 20 years ago, but it is interesting watching The Sopranos over again because I watched it in its entirety during its, when it ran, and now watching it again, it's funny to see the fact that Junior Soprano wasn't as old as he thought he was, but also that he's alive and Tony Soprano's not in real life, those kind of things. But from 20 plus years ago, I'm one of those guys, if I watch a series, I don't really watch it again.
I mean, if you're gonna let Seinfeld count, then yeah, I guess Seinfeld for me
every day.
I mean, I'll watch. I never stop watching it if that makes sense. It's not like I put it down. It's not like I take a break and go back. It's constantly on. So I guess my answer would be Seinfeld. I still watch it.
Yeah, the only real series that I've ever watched in its entirety again was Game of Thrones, and I've done that twice. I love it that much. But like I've tried, I love Breaking Bad. I probably would put on a list. I'd probably put Breaking Bad ahead of Game of Thrones as far as my favorite TV series. But I have tried to watch Breaking Bad again from the beginning, and I failed. That's not quite 20 years ago. And there's another show from just about 20 years ago that I have also tried to rewatch from the beginning, and I'm not getting anywhere with it. But that's a show called The Shield with Michael Chiklis, which if Mike, whoever asked that question, or either of you guys, if you have never watched that series,
The Commish,
yeah,
watch it. It was awesome. It was awesome.
So Mike also asks, since we beat a 3-0 team, can we beat anyone? And I sort of touched upon I touched upon this in my predictions. No, we still could be beaten by anyone, but it was great to win a game against a 3-0 team.
Well, if you're listening earlier, my prediction, I predicted the Saints to win. So the answer is no. We can't just beat anybody. But I will make this point. I looked at the NFL standings, and guess which team has the highest SOV? In other words, strength of victory. In winning percentage, guess which team has the highest SOV?
Giants?
Yes, the New York Giants, 750.
How could that be?
Well, because they only count wins. We have one win, and we beat the Clippers, who are 3-1. So they count even your loss, or your win. You know what I mean? So like the Chargers were 3-0, now they're 3-1. So the Giants' strength of victory is 750. It doesn't take into account losses. Just who we've beaten, we're 750. Highest in the league. Woo!
Look at us go.
So we also have a question from Peacock. So Peacock Corner came a little bit late tonight, but this we brought this up earlier, Mike. Why not use the college overtime rules? Yeah. And I'm fully on board with that. The only thing I don't like about the college overtime rules is once you get, like, I think it's through the second touchdown or that everything else is a 2-point conversion. Like, just keep running it from the 25. That would be my suggestion.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I see what you mean. It becomes a 2-point conversion contest.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I do like, and maybe you don't even have to put the weight on this. Maybe you just say, hey, run the college overtime, but there's no extra points. You have to go for 2.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning of overtime, right? That would be exciting. And again, we've talked about other the way they settle games in soccer and hockey, where you're essentially not playing the game anymore to settle the game, which has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But I like the college football overtime rule. It's football. It's offense. It's defense.
Can you imagine football like operating like hockey or soccer, where it's field goal kickers kicking it from 50, 55, 60, 65? It's ridiculous.
You start off, you get a try from 30, then the other team gets a try from 30, then you go to 35.
Or why don't we trot the quarterbacks out there, put the blue chalk on the edge of the football, and have the golf carts go left and right with the fucking with the bullseye, try to just hit the moving target and
go to skills competition.
Go to skills competition. With that little blue chalk right on the. I love that.
I love too. Drew Brees. I learned a lot about Drew Brees watching those. That dude couldn't miss those things.
Why don't we just do that?
Yeah.
Peacock also asks, will neighbors be the same? Guys, with a knee injury, you never know. You hope he will be, and a lot of guys do come back from that, but you never know.
You just can't have nice things.
No.
We didn't talk about the Met death turf tonight. I thought we might, but I don't know what to speculate about that. But will he be the same? Who knows? We just gotta hope and pray he is, and he's still wearing a Giant uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next time we see Malik Neighbors, he'll probably be wearing a Commander's uniform, just so we have
go with his buddy Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
LSU buddy. Yeah.
Then Peacock also asked the same thing we've been thinking for a while. Trade Winston or Wilson. I'd be all for trading one of them.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
give me what you can out of them.
I keep hearing people say, "Why aren't we trading with the Bengals, Wilson?" The Bengals don't want Russell Wilson. These people really overvalue our players. What are we going to trade Jameis Winston for? At very best, from a very desperate team, we might get a fifth. But that's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
I think Russell Wilson to the Bengals makes sense only if the Bengals can think they can compete.
Well,
otherwise,
is Russell Wilson a huge upgrade over Jake Browning?
He's got to be.
I would trade them straight up for Jake Browning right now.
Jake Browning is terrible.
Yeah, he's not good.
No, he really is. All right, guys, you got anything else tonight?
Nothing.
So we ran probably 2 hours tonight, but we had a lot to get through. We did have Novak here, so we can't complain about him. Pulling us forward.
Jet talk. Yeah.
But
we missed our buddy Novak tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah, man.
It was a lot of good discussion. The Giants finally got a win. We talked about that, but guys. We'll be back next week. Next week, not sure what day we'll record. We'll let you know via Facebook. But love the participation.
One last thing, Scotty. Just a note, a mention of our owner, John Mara, with cancer diagnosis. Obviously nothing but the best for his family and the team and everyone around him. As predicted, the same thing as we were talking about with the Ryder Cup thing. There are Giant fans all over social media wishing death, laughing. If you're listening to this podcast and you've done that or you're doing that, don't stop that. I don't want you listening to us. You're disgusting.
Don't listen to us. Fuck off.
You're disgusting. I hate you.
Seriously, fuck off. We'll take the drop in listeners because
we're doing this for fun anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not worth it, dirtbag. Stop listening to it.
No, that's a good point, Mike. I mean, John Mara for the Giants to put out a statement like that means that there's something serious there, and all of our thoughts are with John Mara.
Yeah, it's bad.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We'll be next. We'll be back next week. We appreciate everyone's support. Talk to you later.
See you.